The content never ends. 6.2 releases on the 23rd of August. There is a ton for everyone to do, and then 6.2.5 comes a bit after that. We've also finally seen Island Sanctuary gameplay. We've got Savage Weapons getting a literal glow up. Dragoon and Astrologian have not been ruined, which, after Kai 10 people got a bit worried. Also, the new player experience keeps on getting better and better, and honestly, a bunch else. So let's go and talk about what's coming for FF14. Okay, MSQ. Look, we kind of already know what it's about, right? Delving into the 13th to fight Golbez and save Ashdaya, but the trailer sure did add a lot more flavor to all of this. I mean, who's this Reaper lady? And why does she give off, like, sort of Virgil energy? Did Varshan go through puberty, maybe? The opening narration set to the Island Sanctuary B-roll and that circus-like tinkling is masterful, and I think having such a cool new ally to add some emotional weight to the events of the 13th is something that could be really, really, really good. Very interesting, all this. Now, the jury, of course, is out on whether she's going to be our 13th counterpart or Xenos' Void Sent back in her human form, or maybe both. Who knows? Also, the Final Fantasy IV references are, of course, getting heavier as well. So, if you need some time to kill before the patch launches, go play FF4. Now, the trailer's transition into those boss fights, the battle themes playing, looked and sounded, of course, wonderful. It's always exciting to see what they're cooking up. And apparently, Sokan actually went and got the original Final Fantasy IV sound files to make sure he was accurate about everything. There's also the likes of Istinian quoting Kane Highwind, who's like the OG Dragoon in the franchise. The trailer itself is just so much fun. Even little bits of boss dialogue is like teasing the stuff we're going to be dealing with. Stuff like, death doesn't exist in this world, and your Aether will be mine. And those lines kind of confirm a bit of a working theory that we've got about the Void Sent. So overall, it looks like there's a hell of a lot in this MSQ. We've got the dungeon, we've got a trial, our new character meeting Kate Sith again. We've got a very serious-looking maybe moment with Xenos' Void Sent. I don't know what's going to happen, but I'm excited. So, next then, the Sanctuary. Okay, the team are so crazy that they've actually pushed this thing ahead of schedule. Islands were supposed to be in 6.2.5, but they're actually going live next week in 6.2 instead, so that's exciting. Now, everyone who's played Animal Crossing, Terraria, Minecraft, Harvest Moon, or, any number of games in that genre, I think you'll know the feel of a good upgrade loop, and thankfully that's their inspiration here, so maybe they'll be able to take me back to when I used to play Harvest Moon Friends of Mineral Town as a kid. The first thing that Yoshi P did was pick up a hatchet. It was a stone hatchet, so it being stone does kind of imply that there will be a better hatchet. So, upgrades. Finally, though, seeing the island in action was awesome. The gameplay all is just nice and varied within the same kind of Harvest Moon staple. You've got forage, mining, catching wildlife, building things, managing your animals, planting seeds, getting currency, ranking up your sanctuary. The island itself looks huge. There's the Mammoth companions who help you out. They seem kind of interesting. And I think the vibes are generally just immaculate. It looks super appealing at a fundamental level. But personalization might be the downside here, and this is the more unfortunate bit, I'll be real with you. It does look like many elements are in quite a fixed area. Now, we've yet to see customization in full, but certainly for the people who thought that this would solve the housing crisis in the game, that seems to be a firm no. You can also add up to 40 of your minions onto the island to just make it kind of look and feel like it's yours, I suppose. Then for buildings, while you're building the facilities that you specifically need to make items and sell them off, that kind of thing. The size of the island, I think, also implies that there's going to be a lot to build, a lot to find. I wonder if they'll sneak any lore in there as well. And of course, there's a sweet new glam to unlock for it as well. We've got the gender-unlocked Daisy Dukes, we've got a full modern Indiana Jones getup, including a backpack, which is nice because the version of that in World of Warcraft is tied to Recruit a Friend, which is kind of just designed to get people to drop, well over 100 quid at once. Okay. Dig at that, game over with. It also has a hat that is attached to the respective chest pieces. It looks pretty sweet. And then, for anyone who is lagging behind MSQ, this is unlocked after 6.0, so there is an impetus to do MSQ. As for the future, though, And this is maybe where, I was like, there's some disappointment that there's not like a housing replacement here. But they did say that this is not a one and done thing. Apparently they'll keep adding content to the Island Sanctuary every other patch or so. So hopefully this is a feature that evolves over time. So overall then, I think people will be disappointed that it's not a full replacement for housing, nor is it seemingly a very, extremely customizable thing. Mostly seems to rely on prefabs as far as we can tell. But as just a little game within a game, a bit of side content, I think it looks pretty damn fantastic. Yeah, so, I mean, I'm excited, and to know that we're getting that next week is, just lovely. Okay, next, bit of a change. First up, I hope they never stop showing gear via printouts, because it just has this really charming budget vibe, I don't know. But the cool things here are that Savage Weapons will, for the first time, have major VFX attached. Now, usually that's only really done with just relics, crafted trial and ultimate weapons, so they're just kind of upping the ante here, which is really cool. They also said that Savage will be delayed by 1 week, instead of releasing immediately like they had planned, and that the Savage head, hands, and feet will only cost 4 books, down from the usual 6, and that actually means that, they've sped up gearing a bit. For Raiders, it's time for a new gauntlet, and for Ascian fetishists, it is time for La Habrea to inspire a lot of fan art, if you know what I mean. So, there's clearly smaller Ascian stories that they want to tell outside of the whole Heidelin Zodiarch side. And diving in here to learn more about the Convocation and to characterize La Habrea and co. is straight up going to be a lot of fun. Now, if the gear is anything to go by, the atmosphere of Abyssos is going to be heavy. Now, look, the raid storylines in this game are usually great, but this one seems like it's going to have perhaps more drama than usual. It looks neat anyway. As for the story, the intentional reference to the myths of Athena, Hephaestus, and Arthonios, those continue. If you want a bit of a reminder, though, about all those stories and implications, how about you hit up our old Pandemonium speculation video? I think you'll enjoy it. And it'll set up, it'll give you maybe the right questions to ask as you go into the new raid wing, so maybe you'll enjoy it more then. Also, an addendum on that song. The music team just keep on winning. It's funny, if you look for 6.1 on YouTube, there's a video titled That One Part in FF14 6.1 trailer with the song lyrics, and it's got over 120k views, just giving us a taste of the Aglaia song. So, of course, this trailer did it again. This video has 100k views already, and it's just a clipping out of the vocal track that people are suggesting will be the P8 theme. It's got a strong Persona vibe, so it's good to see Sokan and co. Just refuse to get boring. Alright, dungeon time. For the Varian Dungeon, the Sildin subterrane, they explained how they plan to balance out the fact that any combo of roles or 1 to 4 players can join. So instead of just scaling, like with the Palace of the Dead, they're trying out variant actions that you can pick when joining. They'll basically let roles borrow things from other roles, like Variant Rampart, which healers in DPS can use to reduce damage taken, or Variant Cure for non-healers to, help heal, and Variant Spirit Dart to give some extra damage to non-DPS roles, so it's kind of interesting. It's even got its own special dungeon finder, and the dungeon finder here tracks lore and which routes and endings of the dungeon you've actually cleared. Now, it looks like there'll be 12, and then there is a super secret ending that you can unlock by reading all of the lore entries for all the endings to figure out, the secret path. That's just sweet. Oh yeah, by the way, Nanamo is our companion, so that'll be fun. Right. The gameplay itself does look like fairly standard dungeoneering, but that's all the easy mode is supposed to be, right? Just some mildly dangerous fighting, some cool bosses to kill, and just, explore while Nanamo talks your ear off about interesting stuff. As to be expected, the bosses aren't going to be a walk in the park, though, even on easy mode, so that's good. But my god, after easy mode, they're going insane. They're madmen. They showed a little bit of the hard mode 4-man only version, and the vibe is a lot more aggressive. I mean, you've got 1 raise per player when you join, and you can apparently replenish these, which is good, but basically it is not something that you can brute force. As for difficulty, Yoshi P said another dungeon is a raid tier 1.5 savage difficulty, and he said that the savage difficulty will be according to the Balance's translator, and I quote, "Really hard, oh my god, challenge mode, oh my god." So that's a bit confusing, but what it really means is that 6.2.5 is going to have a hell of a lot to do. Well, as if the vault wasn't already brutal enough, they've taken their 6.1 update approach further, and now 6.2 is bringing updates to all of those dungeons. We will, we'll now actually be able to do the story dungeons with Horshfond and Yzael where appropriate, and the Steps of Faith is going to be a solo quest battle. If it's, if it's as good as what they've done before there, that'll just be incredible. And the fact that they're willing to go to such lengths, like reworking the Ares final boss mechanic to account for Estinian being a full party member, that's just awesome. They put so much care into this. Even Thornmarch being changed is just clearly to allow for Judy support, but the side effect is just them making the new player experience have fewer, I'm confused and I don't like this moments. Yeah, man. New players they're going to have such a good time compared to how, most of us started the game. To draw things to a close then, the fact that this is only 4 months after 6.1 and 2 months after 6.1.5 is impressive. They make a lot of content. How is this even feasible compared to most other games' update schedules? MSQ and Pandemonium are cool, but a new Unreal version of Sephiroth, all the reworks, Island Sanctuary, all the quality of life, like having extra glam slots in 6.2, it's just a crazy amount of stuff. And that's not even counting the new Tataru and Hildebrand quests with relics in 6.2.5, or the Varian Dungeons. Or the fact that they're also working on the 7.0 graphical update. Finally, FF14 is getting some more resolution options, so also let's just hope that those work. But all in anyway, it is crazy good work from the team. It's a lot of that work as well. I think FF players, whether they are hardcore or casual, will really they'll eat well this time round. There truly is something for everybody. And I think this just shows they built a marvelous foundation. They kind of knew what their game was. They really worked in delivering what that was. And now they're in a situation where they evidently have the slack in the system to be able to do cool new shit like the Varian Dungeon, the Island Sanctuaries. Yeah, they're just a really impressive bunch. Let's hope they figure out how to put more, blades in a server so they can activate more housing supply. That would be kind of nice. Anyway, that's it. Overall, looks like we're in for a pretty damn good time.